there to the fun time. But Vernon McCauley will be there, and the whole 2.5 hours, Vernon's coming in, and he will have his magical shopping cart of savings with us, and I do not know what it will be. I really don't. So we'll find out on Tuesday or on Thursday. Good gravy, maybe. It's just been. I tell you what, I'm going to go back and say it, and I think it's well established that I'm not as young as I once was. But I'm young once, as I always been. No, I'm not as young as I once was.
No, of course.
And Friday morning, Friday was a day. It was a great day, by the way. Friday morning, I got up at 5 o'clock. I came down here and set up for the show. We did the show on the front porch, of course, and then we did the special edition of Chalk Talk, where we interviewed the young ladies and Mark DeCarly. So we were here at about 10, tore down the equipment soon after that, and moved on. And then, I did not rest that day, went straight to State College. And of course, the long delay and all that sort of stuff. And we didn't get home till 11:30. And so then Saturday, did it all again, at least till 9 o'clock, and then at that point in time, I had to get ready for a wedding, and then we had the wedding and the reception, and then the next day we had a little Father's Day get together, and it has kicked my proverbial rear end, and I don't know if it's proverbial or not, but it was kicked, and so I have been struggling since, but I'm getting back to it. I'll be here all day tomorrow, all day Thursday. Friday we'll talk about Bill.
All right.
I do have some obligations on Friday, but I did want to be here Friday because I wanted to see. Rhodes Grove Campground's coming in. I wanted to see how their horse ministry's going. How many horses they have brought to the Lord and baptized in the creek beside them or in the pool. I don't know how they do that out there, and I didn't want to ask the first time. I think he was getting a little upset with me.
No, actually, it's funny because we had a board meeting at Rhodes Grove last night, and I asked Brad if he was bringing anyone with him, and we actually was thinking about bringing the lady who runs the horse ministry.
I thought you were going to say one of the horses.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
We're going to bring one of the horses in. And, well, Greg, thanks for asking. That was great.
Nero, right? The Roman Emperor?
Yeah. I thought it was someone from downtown. He hangs out on the square a lot.
he actually appointed his horse as a senator.
Did he really?
He did, yeah. But that's a fact. But the horse, every time it came up to a vote, he always voted nay.
I knew that was coming. I should have thought of that one. I was wrong. I wanted this. There we go.
There you go.
Nay. The nays have it. That inside. Just got a text from Lisa Parson here. We don't recover from long days. Let me see what she said here because I have to believe her. I know it's going to be true. Yeah, that's Bill's. Okay. We just don't recover from long days and weekends like we once did. That is for sure. That is for sure. And that's a double sure. So let's see here. 66 degrees at 7:50 in the morning. Time for us to go to the birthday club. Oh, by the way, Mike Ross coming up.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Mike Ross, who once said, "I'd rather be known as Mike Ross, who is late, as opposed to the late Mike Ross."
Good point.
Yes, John Wesley, born on the stage in 1703. English cleric, theologian, evangelist, society he founded. Began the independent Methodist movement that continues to the present day. Ralph Bellamy, born on this day in 1904, actor, 65-year career on stage, film, and television, movies like The Wolfman, Ghost of Frankenstein, Rosemary's Baby, Pretty Woman, Trading Places. He won a Tony Award for Best Dramatic Actor for Sunrise at Campobello.
Now, was he the father of the Bellamy brothers?
No relation.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking.
John Hersey, born on this day in 1914, writer, journalist, he wrote with The New Yorker. He also published a number of works, including Hiroshima, which a 36-member panel and New York University Journalism Department named the best piece of American journalism in the 20th century. He also won a Pulitzer Prize for a fiction for A Bell for Adano. And he was a graduate of Yale, where he lettered in football and his dog Oliver served as Yale's mascot from 1949 to 1957.
That makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Old Crazy Legs, Elroy Hurst, born this day in 1923, halfback for the LA Rams. He's both the Pro and College Football Halls of Fame. He's three-time play in the Pro Bowl and the NFL Championship in 1951. He was also the general manager of the Rams from 1960 to 1969 and athletic director of the University of Wisconsin from 1969 to 1987.
Now, I'm just curious. You know how they usually shorten nicknames?
Yes.
Did they call him Legs or Crazy?
Yeah.
One of the two.
Peter Lupus, born this day in 1930. He was a bodybuilder and actor, best known, of course, for playing Willie Armitage on the TV show Mission Impossible. He was also a Police Squad. Married to his wife Shannon since 1960. Jerry Granahan, born this day in 1939, better known as the musician Dickie Doo of Dickie Doo and the Don'ts. Songs like Click Clack, Teardrops Will Fall, and Flip Top Box. As a producer, he worked with an eclectic mix of musicians, including the Fireflies, Patty Duke, and Jay and the Americans.
Now, I wonder if his nickname, did they call him Dickie or Do?
Newton Leroy Gingrich, born this day in 1943, better known as Newt Gingrich, although known as representing the South in the House of Representatives. He was actually from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Yes, he was.
Indeed. Politician, author, Speaker of the House from 1995 to 1999, and Time Magazine's Man of the Year in 1995. Barry Manilow, born this day in 1946, singer, songwriter. Ironically, did not write I Write the Songs.
I know.
Written by Bruce Johnson of the Beach Boys.
That the whole world
Yes,
sings.
indeed.
Yeah.
But, man, it was a huge hit for Barry Manilow, as was Copacabana, Mandy, Can't Smile Without You. He also wrote jingles for McDonald's, Pepsi, and Band-Aid. Joe Piscopo, born this day in 1951, comedian and actor, radio talk show host, best known, of course, for his stint on Saturday Night Live from 1980 to 1984. His films include Johnny Dangerously, Wise Guys, and Sidekicks. Mark Lynn Baker, born this day in 1953, actor, of course, known for the TV show Perfect Strangers. He's also in the movie My Favorite Year. He's also been on Blue Bloods. And he has his Bachelor of Arts and his Master of Fine Arts from Yale University. Thomas Hayden Church, born this day in 1961. Actor known for the TV shows Wings and Ned and Stacy. He also played Sandman in Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man No Way Home. He was in the movie Sideways, George of the Jungle, and Tombstone. Will Forte, born this day in 1970. Actor, comedian, another Saturday Night Live alum. And, of course, he played the character MacGruber, not only Saturday Night Live, but in a movie as well. He was also in the TV show Last Man on Earth, which he created. And his voice work includes Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the Lego movie series. But, Greg, I think you have the real celebrity birthdays for us.
Yeah, I do. And, Bill, did you get Mike Crispin yesterday?
I did, yes.
Good,
yeah,
very
yeah.
good, because it was his 61st birthday.
Yes.
Wanted to make sure we got that. Today's birthdays include Sidney Fitry, Brad Eichelberger, Eric Bowman, and Barry Shoemaker. Let me think, Barry, you're probably hitting the 70 today. Wow. Oh, wait, I'm next. Okay, so never mind. But happy birthday. If you see Barry, Eric, Brad, or Sidney, tell them happy birthday. Tell them you heard it right here on the Birthday Club at 93.7 WRGG and on the web at WRGG.org. You need to get your name on the Birthday Club? Simply send it to us at studio@WRGG or go to our webpage, WRGG.org. Now, our good friend Barb Trumpire wrote in yesterday as a suggestion that, she says, how Bill does birthdays, and most of those people have passed, or some have passed, that perhaps we should do a memorial birthday club for people that have passed, in memorial of them. Remember, what's the word what I would use?
In memoriam, yeah.
In memoriam. And I think that's a great idea. So if you want to celebrate someone's birthday that has passed, we'll do that. We're going to do that. We're going to start doing that on the Birthday Club. So send us that information as well. Just go to our webpage at WRGG.org. Hard to believe, but we're always thinking of new ideas. Well, we didn't think of that one. Barb did. Thank you, Barb.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and so it'd be something new on something old, the radio show right here at WRGG. Well, as we have mentioned, in the 8 o'clock hour today, it's the one and only Mike Ross, the most exciting 1 hour of radio that can be heard on the third Tuesday of any month.
Oh, absolutely.
Third Tuesday of any month.
Oh, my goodness,
You
yeah.
listen on any third Tuesday. This is the most exciting hour coming up.
Take that, all you to other stations.
Yeah, it's even more exciting than his podcast, Mike on the Mic. Mike at the Mic. Mike on the Mic. Mike eat some microphone. I don't know. I don't know what the name of it is, but we'll find out. He's coming our way here at 8 o'clock, right here at 93.7 WRGG.
Poor Bosco doesn't get mentioned in the title.
He doesn't. No. Oh, I don't think they let him on.
Oh, he's on there. Oh, yeah.
Oh, is he? Is he? Okay.
Well, he just doesn't get mentioned in the title.
It doesn't have a nice ring. Mike and Bosco on the mic. Mike on the mic.
By the way, I guarantee
Mike
you,
at the mic.
I guarantee that conversations come up at the MCADC. I've been privy to some interesting conversations. They once got into an argument, he and Bosco, about the music they played in the office.
Well, poor Bosco. No one knows his real name. Ever knows his real name. It's just. I don't know. I feel bad for him. At least here on the show, we know.
Right.
You know.
Dave Mackley, of course.
I know it's Dave Mackley.
I know you know, yes. I don't want any of Dave's relatives who might be listening to feel like he's getting slighted.
Well, he is getting. He gets slighted all the time.
It's bad enough. He's not mentioned in the title of the podcast.
I thought he just ran the camera. Oh, my. That's Mike Ross coming up just a few minutes away from here, right here on 93.7 WRGG. Tomorrow on the morning show, we're doing our top 80 TV shows.
Top favorite, 5 favorite songs of the night. Jeez. 5 favorite TV shows of the 1980s.
Oh, that's the next week. We alternate back and forth.
Yes.
I don't know what we do, but we do something like that. That's coming up. And then in the 8 o'clock hour, Cheryl Brown will be our guest, and she may bring some other guests along, which is quite all right, to talk about student lunch debt. And we'll find out about that tomorrow here on the morning show at 93.7 WRGG. Big news, 9 o'clock today. Dave Kipp returns. So we're excited about that. Dave returns, and he's feeling good about it too. And we'll see how that goes. I got to warm up the stair chair. I might even send it down to the bottom. That's how nice I'm going to be today.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
He's coming to when?
He's coming in today.
Nice. Today.
Pay attention, Bill.
I am. No, it's a little narrative device there.
Oh,
Greg.
I see. To reemphasize the point.
Exactly. Yes.
I thought you were ignoring me again, which is not unusual for anybody here on the morning show to ignore me. Okay, so that being said, I think, we're heading to the top of the hour. The weather forecast, what is this with the rain?
I don't know. It seems like it just keeps raining.
It must, and it's raining in Greencastle, so it must be raining all over the world. Something like that. I don't know. But we're going to take a break for news. NBC Radio News, top of the hour. And then that Jim Vaughn drizzly forecast is coming up as well. And then we'll be back with Mike Ross, the most exciting hour in radio on the third Tuesday on a radio station in Greencastle. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Morning Show on WRGG.
Broadcasting from the Wade Lynn Studios, we are WRGG LP Greencastle.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. President Trump is expected to meet with his National Security Council today after leaving the G7 summit in Canada early. The president said his departure was due to the deadly military conflict between Israel and Iran and his need to focus on the matter. NBC's Matt Bodner in Washington.
Trump will be convening his National Security Council in the Situation Room upon his return to Washington. Adding to the sense of urgency, Trump posted on Truth Social in all caps that, quote, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, before then urging the 10 million residents of Tehran to immediately evacuate the city, all without providing further detail.
The ongoing anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles has cost the city nearly $20 million. This military veteran tells KTLA he fought for the right to protest.
I serve this country to defend the Constitution, so it gives people like these folks, as well as the MAGA folks, that right to express themselves. Doesn't matter if people agree with this or they agree with MAGA, everyone has that right here in this country.
City Administrative Officer Matt Zasbo announced the current total costs on Monday. Nearly $17 million on the total is connected with the LAPD. Officers have earned more than $11 million in overtime in the past week and a half. There's also been an estimated $593,000 in damage to city buildings. The man accused of killing a Minnesota state lawmaker and her husband is facing federal murder and stalking charges. Minnesota Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson said Vance Belter visited the homes of two other lawmakers with the intention of harming them, but no one was at home, and he was scared off by police at the other home.
He went to their homes, held them out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood.
Belter is also charged with shooting Democratic State Senator John Hoffman and his wife. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Lumber Direct is ready for summer, and they are ready to help you with all your summer supplies. Pool chemicals, yard games, and outdoor furniture, and there's a large selection of fans and air conditioners. Lumber Direct has a wide variety of fishing supplies, and there's also canning essentials. You'll find grills and pellets, propane, and gas-fired griddles. Locally owned and operated, 10 East Walter Avenue in Greencastle, Lumber Direct proudly supports WRGG and many community projects. You can follow Lumber Direct on Facebook.
There was a time when every small town had several local family-owned auto dealerships. Greencastle still has one. Antrim Way Honda, 200 South Antrim Way, just off exit 3 of I-81. Home to a large selection of pre-owned vehicles. Something for every budget. All pre-owned vehicles are put through a multi-point inspection. When you drive away, you'll know your ride is safe and dependable. You may check out their inventory online at antrimhonda.com. And while your vehicle is being professionally serviced, you can relax with some great refreshments in the cafe at Antrim Way. Antrim Way Honda, a much appreciated supporter of community radio, WRGG.
If you want the highest quality, locally grown fruits and produce nature will allow,
apple, peaches, pumpkin pie,
and so much more. Tracy's Orchard, 12483 Hollowell Church Road in Greencastle, 717-597-7565. They also have 19 varieties of apples, 18 varieties of peaches, and lots of other fruits and vegetables, all locally grown. There's nothing better than their homemade goods, jams, jellies, pie fillings, ciders, and freshly baked pies made with their products.
apple, peaches, pumpkin pie.
Tracy's Orchard, stop on by.
Tracy's Orchard, helping to sponsor the programming on WRGG.
How many number one songs can there be?
One.
If you guessed one, guess again. WRGG's library is filled with number one songs from the 50s,
I'm in love. I'm all shook
60s,
and everybody calls it the Sugar Shack.
and 70s.
Tonight's the night.
WRGG 93.7 and on the web, WRGG.org.
WRGG weather.
Now the weather forecast for WRGG. For today, cloudy skies. It will be humid with a chance of rain and thunderstorms, high around 79. Mostly cloudy tonight with a chance of rain and scattered thunderstorms, low around 71. Wednesday, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, ending by evening, high around 89. Becoming mostly clear Wednesday night, low around 73. And Thursday, increasing afternoon cloudiness with a chance of afternoon rain, high around 90. For WRGG, I'm Nowcast meteorologist Jim Vaughn.
Currently 66 degrees under cloudy skies in downtown Greencastle. Humidity up at about 100%. Record high for today, 96 degrees in 1952, 36 degrees in 1914. Average temperatures for today, 59 to 84. Sun made an appearance at 5:42. It will set tonight at 8:41. We're at the Mecca, 14 hours and 59 minutes of daylight. It's all we're going to get. And this is the top of the scale here, so enjoy the next couple of days. 66 degrees at 93.7 WRGG and on the web at WRGG.org.
It's the morning show on WRGG 93.7.
Well, he knows everything about Greencastle, Antrim, and Franklin County, and Pennsylvania, and probably the whole dang country. He's Mike Ross.
There he is. He knows everything about everything, and the whole world. I think is the way we just solved the whole world's problems moments ago.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
By the way, the sun has not made an appearance today.
No, it has not made an appearance. I don't get it. I it's summertime. The sun's almost in the title.
Yeah, I
almost.
I dread Sunday.
Oh.
Because Sunday the days start to shorten.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
that's.
I know. And you always have this image that it's the summer, that it's the long days, but it really, it starts turning the other way right now, and not the sun or anything like that. But
like the first day of summer, the days start to get shorter.
Yeah,
Right.
It does. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't mind it so much because when the days are longer, then my wife always tells me you can still mow after dinner.
That's true. Yeah. Not now, dear. Not now. I'm sorry.
No, got home from work. It's dark now.
No, you think about it, though, because in the winter, like at 5:30, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
And your habits change.
Right. Yeah.
That's why, like, if you live in the South or Southwest or West Coast, I think they're healthier, seriously.
You just name, like, every region?
Yeah. They can be outside. Except the Northeast.
Except for the Northeast.
Everywhere but here. It's how that is.
We got to go to Planet Fitness. They can go outside.
We were talking before we got on the air. You're going away in 2 weeks,
right?
Yeah, and you talked about going to Canada, and you listed every big city in Canada, and then said, "Bill, you've been there."
Well, the big ones in the Western Canada.
Yeah,
because you had to go to Glacier National Park.
Correct.
Yeah.
Was that Montana?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're talking about how all the Canadian spots are like 3 or 4 hours away.
And
all the Canadians live in Ontario.
And we just assumed that if you lived there, you've been there. You
Of
know?
course, yeah.
And then we started talking about, like being in California. If you lived in San Francisco, of course you've been to Los Angeles, even though it's.
Well, like a day, probably more than a day.
Yeah,
at least a day's drive.
It's got to be. It's got to be. It's a long way down there. So yeah, and then we went to Pennsylvania and realized a lot of people probably haven't been to Philadelphia. So.
Yeah, do you think it's harder to hike from San Francisco to Los Angeles or Los Angeles to San Francisco?
Well, it's got to be uphill.
Yeah, exactly.
The map's uphill. That's why I always thought it'd be easy to get to Florida. You just put it in neutral.
Yeah, exactly.
Drift out the whole way down. Now coming home, a little tougher, but yeah, that's so. Yeah, so Mike, how are you? I haven't seen you in a month.
Good.
Yeah.
It's been a month.
Yeah,
and but I've been good. No,
it's always a month. It's always a month. No, actually, I did see him.
Yeah, we did over at the
Heritage.
the Heritage Hills when they were having their ribbon cutting.
Yeah,
what a nice facility. That's a great job, and kudos to BJ Hissong and Becky for what they've invested over there.
Yes.
Also, kudos to Eagle Construction for the beautiful facility, and that's a good, if I can speak, a good construction firm. It really is.
Really is. Yes, really is. And as you said, it's a beautiful place. It really is. And they're going to add on to it. And excited about that as well. So I spent a lot of time over there. Not as not yet as a resident, but that's coming soon. I realize that. And that's okay. Wait a minute. 3 meals a day. They give them my meds to me. They'll wash my clothes.
How can it get better than that?
I know, really.
And you can just wander.
Yeah, and I always wonder. I wonder.
Wonder and wander.
Yeah, same thing. So, all right, Mike, we always get down to business here.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just takes a while.
It just takes a long time for us to get. First of all, did you drop your new edition of Mike on the Mic?
We did. It was actually going to come. We interviewed Chad Reichert.
Okay.
Recently, we talked about extensively about what's taking place at Mont Alto.
Sure.
And what
the
possibilities are, and we just interviewed Colonel Don Santilla, who's the commander at Letterkenny.
Okay.
And there'll be a change of command in July, on July 10th, and just to get his perspective on what's taking place at the depot. He's been here for 2 years, and just get thoughts on the state of the depot, and I think there's some real opportunities going forward to expand the workload, and I think there's a transformation going on within the Army itself.
Yeah,
that's going to impact Letterkenny. And to that point, Greg, it really it's impressive when you see the amount of investment taking place, be it Letterkenny, be it Carlisle, at the War College
Right.
or to barracks or go to Mechanicsburg or New Cumberland or Fort Indian Town Gapper, and from an economic development standpoint, we don't track that. So if Walmart is opening a distribution center, we'll say, the capital investment was X and number of jobs that be created was Y. But there's millions of dollars being invested at our installations every year.
Right.
And when you see an economic development report at the local or state level, it does not track that.
Yeah.
Some of it we're not aware.
Sure.
But even if, because it was interesting to me, I was at I serve on the Pennsylvania Military Community Enhancement Commission, which is designed to protect all of our installations here from, and to make sure that we're supporting those installations. So to hopefully stave off another BRAC for those. But, the last week, Google or Amazon announced a $20 billion investment in a data center, and they're going to up in Berwick is where it's primarily going to be.
Yeah.
But but we were talking at the commission, and Google has a big presence in Pittsburgh. There is a there's a facility, a high-end nuclear processing facility in Pittsburgh that is a $3 billion investment, and nobody even knew it was there.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it was there, for the state.
And we still don't. We just released that news right here. Top secret.
It's been operating. Westinghouse is in charge.
For some time now, research development has been one of the major drivers of the economy in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But but the amount of spending taking place is remarkable, and I make it known all the time that every community would like an installation like Letterkenny.
Yeah.
It's a major employer.
Well, that's the big thing.
The wages are above average. The folks involved who work there have disposable income to be involved in the community in a significant way.
And it's an interesting partnership between the military and civilian sectors as well.
Exactly. Exactly right, Bill. And they are critical to our national defense.
Sure, yeah.
So, you've seen the Patriot anti-missile system in play, and what's going on in Israel right now.
Right.
And that they get recalibrated at Letterkenny.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And a lot of the HIMARS that you saw being deployed in Ukrainian-Russian conflict came out of Letterkenny.
Yeah,
right.
So it's really...
And the work with MRAPs as well that they're doing.
Exactly. So there's lots of good things, but to get the colonel's perspective is nice, and he'll be when he leaves Letterkenny, his last assignment he's going to be the deputy commandant at the War College. So,
okay.
So he's
nice.
living in Carlisle now. That's where the housing is for the Letterkenny commander, and so he'll get to stay there. And he has a son who's in, I think, 10th grade and going into 11th, I think, at Carlisle
High School. Yeah.
So he'll get to finish out at Carlisle, which is nice.
I always felt that was interesting. There was two kids that came into Carlisle War College, excellent runners, and they went to Carlisle. And they were young when they started, and they get to like their junior year, and they're talking state championships. No, these two kids move away. It's a boom to Carlisle as well. But you're exactly right. I mean, Letterkenny is, and I don't know the numbers of employees, but when I was growing up, when I was turning 18, it was Mack Truck, Grow Manufacturer, and Letterkenny were the three big places to go.
Letterkenny is the second biggest employer in the county at this point, behind Wellspan.
Yes.
But they have about, between the depot and the tenants that, the defense-related tenants that are at the depot, they're about 2,200 employees. They're going through a $750 million modernization program.
Okay.
So there are 3 buildings that are under construction right now, another one coming. 2 under construction. They're going to be changing their access control point to get into the installation for the employees. That's going to be a major investment. Then there's a third building coming that will probably break ground either late this year or early next year.
All right. Right.
But I mean, but it's nice to see that.
Yes.
And because if you drive on to the depot, Letterkenny was founded in 1941.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the buildings were built. They're World War II era buildings.
Right.
Built from the 40s and the 50s, and and we haven't done anything since.
Yeah.
So if you drive there, it looks like we're defending Albania compared to the other installations.
Yeah.
Well, some of those old barracks were still standing.
It's
recently.
It's just. I mean, they're wooden structures. They have 14-foot ceilings.
Yeah.
And when they were built, they would have been state of the art.
Sure.
Right.
But
Sure. Yeah.
At this point, they are as antiquated as they can possibly be, and but it'll be nice. It'll increase their efficiency. I think increase the worker morale to be in buildings that reflect the 21st century.
Yeah. But can you get on the base still? They used to restrict you, and then they let it wide open.
You can. So when the Base Realignment Commission action took place in 1995, it 1,400 acres of give or take were excess and turned over to the county.
Right.
And they created the Letterkenny Industrial Development Authority to essentially repurpose the buildings and property that came with it on that 1,400 acres. There's still 18,000 acres of the installation that you cannot go on. If you drive out to Letterkenny, it gets a little confusing. You'll see Jersey barrier. If you see a Jersey barrier around a building, that building is still federal.
Okay.
If you don't, then it's being operated by a private sector company.
Okay. So we don't mind if you attack that one, but you can't attack the other one.
And every commander since 1995 has been worried about security.
Right.
Because you can, the security, you just walk between the barriers. The barriers don't even come together.
Yeah, you don't even
walk between them. And and it's, so they lose sleep over how to secure it. And so what's taking place in terms of the modernization program will provide greater security.
Okay.
And through the PMCEC, the Community Enhancement Commission, we were at the FCDC, we administer Team Letterkenny. We were able to get $144,000 from the commission so that they could put in security cameras to better monitor the installation. Now, what's always interesting to me is part of the reason we had to do this is because the cameras they had were in violation of DOD policy because some parts came from China. Okay, so they had to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're providing $144,000 to upgrade the security cameras. This is the largest budget on earth at the Department of Defense.
Yes. Yeah.
They 144,000 would never even show up as a rounding error.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we can get within $144,000 of where we're supposed to work, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. But
it's a lot of hammers.
But anyway. But we're happy to help them.
Sure.
And we want to advocate everywhere we can in support of the installation. And
I think putting in the Bing cameras it's a little less expensive than the high security ones that you would think would go into a place like that. Yeah.
So, but the folks out there are doing good things, and I've had the opportunity to tour a number of times, and especially during the Afghan and Iraq crises. I mean, when they were really up armoring the Humvees and so on.
Yeah.
They you go through and you see the work that the employees are doing, and then at the end you get to a picture and there's 4 guys standing around an MRAP in one of either Iran or Afghanistan, where the big sign simply says "Thank you, Letterkenny."
Letterkenny, yeah,
because
that's
you
pretty cool.
You saved our lives,
right?
Yeah. So a lot. I think you said it best right in the beginning. Is the economic impact that it has on the community.
Yep.
That's not even recorded as economic impact on the community, just the jobs itself. You know? Yeah. So it's pretty cool that they're still here, still up and running as well. So
then all these things a lot of people aren't aware of, like the deer hunts they do, especially the ones they do for veterans and disabled veterans.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing stuff they do in terms of the outreach.
Yeah. So
it really is. No, but it's excuse me. No, as hopefully their workload is going to increase significantly with some of the things taking place, which will allow them to hire more. But I think over the pace we're on right now, as in terms of employee rankings. Excuse me.
You all right, Mike?
I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Tuberculosis. Thank you.
Our listeners say that every day.
Well, I mean, it's only contagious for a while.
Yeah,
but no, I think in terms of employer, Walmart is going to jump up there.
Sure.
Because Walmart has approximately 1,500 people here in Greencastle, and probably another 500 or 600 in Shippensburg at this point, just on the industrial side,
right?
Not counting their stores.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be
just the distribution centers.
They're a big employer in the county.
Yeah, they are. So, anything exciting in Greencastle, Antrim?
There's always good stuff going on down there.
Besides the morning show.
No, yeah. Well, that's the most exciting thing always. But no, in term we're talking to the township supervisors in Antrim about some development possibilities where we at FCADC might have the opportunity to partner with them on in trying to bring some smaller manufacturing companies or to town, not more distribution,
right,
but some smaller projects
that could benefit the distribution centers or industry.
And it'll benefit the greater Greencastle area,
right,
for sure.
Right.
But I'm excited about that, and we're trying to work with the folks at Penn Cherry out in Upton.
Oh yeah.
About their efforts to bring in either a tenant or a buyer for that property.
That's just sitting there right now.
No, well, Penn Cherry. No, they're leasing some space.
Okay.
To a local manufacturer, and they're also they continue to use it as a distribution point for Penn Cherry, some of the lumber that they have, but it's a big property.
Yeah, it is a huge property.
They're looking. So in all seriousness, if you're listening and you're in business and you need additional space,
right.
You can call our office at FCADC at 717-263-8282 or email me at mike@fcadc.com or contact Penn Cherry directly.
Right.
You can drive out. There's a real estate sign. I forget. I think I'm not sure which real estate company has it listed, but but there could be an interesting opportunity there.
I mean, for storage or for manufacturing.
I mean, it was designed.
Foremost.
For Foremost to Ralph Michael built that to support the manufacturer of Foremost homes.
It's huge. I mean, it really is a lot
50 acres with nearly 250,000 square feet of space, but it's a well-maintained property.
Yeah. Now, I was driving out Route 11 yesterday south toward Exit 3, and at the new red light, which goes back to the farm, to the immediate right, looked like they were putting a new pad in there.
I think a Tapco's doing that, and I'm not sure what exactly what that is. I know Pete and Jerry's is expanding.
Okay.
And that Tapco's doing that expansion for them as well in terms of taking on the ownership and the construction of that.
Okay. Because that's not really in their property, is it? The Tapco and the Pete and Jerry's?
Well, I mean, where the
expansion is. Okay.
Yeah,
very good. Very good. So, all right.
And the Tapco, they've done a nice job with that park. I mean, they were the primary developers. I mean, North Point Development built some of the larger facilities out there, but the Tapco has really been the genesis of the park.
It has been,
and,
yes, from day one,
and they've invested heavily in there, and it's but they saw a great opportunity, and they capitalized on it.
And of course, everybody wants to know any upgrade on, as we call it here, the Corning plant.
I don't have any. Man, I know that Matrix Development, who is a significant developer. I mean, we talk about a Tapco, we talk about North Point, but Matrix is a real player in Franklin County, both here in the Greencastle area and in the Shippensburg area.
Okay.
So they control the World Kitchen property and the two buildings behind it.
Yes.
And by the way, as a recycling reverse logistics, who is located behind. They are, that's an affiliate of Amazon.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And they are going to be. They were mentioned in the Amazon announcement on their data center in Berwick.
Oh, okay.
So they're repurposing a lot of the servers and so on.
Yeah.
That will be used in support of that project.
Right.
So
yeah.
but
Excellent.
it's great to have it. But Matrix owns all that, and if you go up to and they're looking at additional development in Antrim Township along Greenmont Road.
Okay.
And by the way, if anybody hasn't driven out Greenmont, it's a new experience.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's almost straight. I mean, in comparison, it is straight. But yeah.
But and up in Shippensburg, they own the Walmart building, the Amazon, the Lowe's, and
now and a quick question on this one is the Chambersburg corridor part from whatever chamber is that built out, or is there still more property there for them in Chambersburg?
and the Chambers 5 business part? No, that's built out at this point.
And along 81, most of it looks like
the next iteration of development will be around what will be exit 12.
Okay.
At Guilford Springs Road.
Okay.
Where the Target distribution center is.
Yes.
That exit's supposed to go under construction next year.
Okay.
And for completion, I think in 2028. But that will open up a couple of hundred acres for additional development.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
All of it on the west side of 81.
Okay.
So the same. So for those going down, if you're familiar with exit 3 where the development is, it'll be the same side of the road at exit 12.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes, it would be.
Right going down.
Yeah.
Downhill and left going uphill.
All right. Very good. That's and of course, again, I've been traveling twice now in the last 3 months. I went down 81 south for a distance, and I don't know what Martinsburg could put in yet down in their area. That is built out.
I mean, Berkeley County, Jefferson County, Morgan County, they have gone crazy over the last decade, both with commercial and industrial development and housing. I mean, they have built a phenomenal amount of housing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of housing being built in Franklin County and Washington County, but it's very visible in Berkeley County when you're going down 81.
Right, it's right there.
And was it Spring Mill?
Yes.
Right there at like exit 23 or whatever.
And that used to have a gas station and then eventually a hotel, and now it's like a little city there.
There's a school. I mean, it's really exploded.
Yeah.
And again, from a labor standpoint, it's important for us to be aware both directions.
Yes.
And that's why we meet with our friends periodically from the South, because we're all part of the same labor shed.
Right.
So what's taking place in Berkeley County or Washington County impacts the available employment in Franklin County.
Sure.
And the same thing here. So as Walmart opens and is hiring 1,500 people, the folks in Washington County and Berkeley County need to be aware of that, because nobody, only in my world, because of the funding we get, do we care about county lines.
Right.
Employers don't.
Right. It doesn't matter where you live. If you're and again, it's not that far to drive.
Oh my no. I mean, our tagline going south is we're 4 counties, 4 states, 40 miles.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so it doesn't get any easier than that. And that's something, Greg, for years that I've been trying to talk to policymakers in Harrisburg when we have the conversation about South Central Pennsylvania.
Right.
It's always the Harrisburg, Lancaster, York conversation.
Right.
And part of that was Franklin County was never part of the Harrisburg media.
Right.
We go, our major outlets were Washington and Baltimore.
Right.
And today, and by the way, we're part of the Washington Metropolitan Statistical Area.
Right. And we are in like it's called the Washington ADI when you do television, radio stuff. It's all part of Washington area.
It's considered a suburb of D.C.
Yeah. I mean, going back to Letterkenny, the federal employees get Washington-based pay scale. And that's significant.
That is significant.
I mean, because for years it was like literally a West Virginia pay scale.
Yeah.
And then several years ago, They said, no, you're part of
Washington. Yeah.
So it was the
Yeah.
folks at Letterkenny and other federal employees. They like to hear that.
Yeah.
But again, what were we talking about?
four states, 4 counties, 40
40
miles.
40 miles. Yeah, very good, Bill. Thank you.
Media.
No, but
DC.
we track that because again, I mentioned Walmart opens. Those folks need to be aware, and what I was saying about the policymakers, they don't. We talk about. They say what, because once they come south to Carlisle,
yeah,
it's like they're in no man's land,
right? Yeah.
And I always remind them like it was like 2011. We got indoor plumbing down here, and so you can come down here and feel like
it's okay. It's okay.
If you have to go, we'll have a place.
Now,
for
not
you.
everyone has indoor plumbing, but for the most part,
a lot of us wear shoes.
Yeah,
but not everybody.
Yeah, we even have cars. We don't use the horses anymore. Yeah,
ELM doesn't really. Their shoe.
It's not horseshoes.
Yeah, it's like they're out there taking used tires and cutting them up and say, "Here, put strings in these and tie them on."
Tie them on.
So, but they get here and then so we had no idea this was going on.
Yeah,
right. And then we say, well, Hagerstown is the commercial epicenter of Franklin County.
Yes,
and it's and when we compete for projects, and we compete with Washington County, we'll compete with Berkeley County, we'll compete with Frederick County, Maryland, and Virginia.
Yeah.
But if we're going to lose, we'd rather lose to one of them because it helped build our regional economy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If we and at the state level, they'll look at us. Well, we'd rather go to York.
Right.
Well, you working for Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I get that.
Right.
But working in Franklin County, and we're trying to build our economy. More people nobody's going to York.
No,
we're a north-south
right.
economy. We're not an east-west economy.
Right. We are not.
So so we talk about we've actually sent site searches and helped site searches as they have over there as well. They've helped site searches in Franklin County. We've helped them in Washington County and Berkeley County because again, it's good for all of us. But we have to track what's taking place.
Yeah.
Because again, we're all part of the same labor shed.
Yeah.
And the same economy. And that's the other part. When people say, we need, like in Greencastle for a long time, we need a Target or one of the
big retail outlets.
and food.
Food, yeah.
Wendy's, Target, or two. You always hear.
Okay, you're like 6 minutes from Hagerstown. Okay,
Right.
it's not like you don't have access to it.
Right.
You're not in.
You got one in Chambersburg. You got one in Hagerstown.
You're not suburban Alberta County, Canada. Okay, where it's just like
which Bill has been to, by the way, because we know Bill's been to every city.
You try to tell people there's no Target here because Target isn't going to come here.
No, they're not. Well, they're here.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They're here in.
They're here in Chambersburg. They're here in Hagerstown. Exactly.
I mean, how many of you think we need?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
But
we just need a small Target.
But we have been conditioned that you should be. I shouldn't have to go anywhere.
Right. Yes. Let them come to me.
I mean, when we have, and I've not had the opportunity to be part of any of the messaging to the employees at World Kitchen, but in the past where we've had downsizing, we've gone in and we'll talk about what's going on in the region. But it's like, yeah, but what's going on? My days I go to Corning, or whatever the employer was, like what's going to be like
what's
right
coming
here,
in here, so
like
I
right
can
here.
I don't have to move. Yeah.
It's like, well, there's these opportunities in Chambersburg or these opportunities in Hagerstown or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's coming here?
Yeah,
I was like, it's like
'cause
10 minutes.
I like to keep my office or my area there. And my car knows how to get here. But no, you're.
And I'm not saying that's going to happen with the World Kitchen or what Corral brand employees, but but we've seen it in the past.
Right. Go to really quick, and this will be our last serious topic. What is the latest on Penn State Monalto?
The latest that I'm aware of is there's conversations taking place. Chad Reichert's been on this, and he deserves accolades for his engagement with both Penn State and with the Department of Community of DCNR, Department Conservation and Environmental Resources. The way that's set up, when Penn State College essentially took over the Forest Academy back in 1937,
right?
The enabling legislation said that if you ever discontinue the Forest Academy, the land on which it sits reverts back to the Commonwealth.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
So at this point, there's conversation and it looks like DCNR would be the entity that would be the recipient of that. So we're trying to understand what those options might be, and I know there's conversations taking place that says you want to put an environmental center at South Mountain Golf Course. Maybe it would be better to just use Penn State
use that.
Mont
Yeah,
Alto.
yeah.
Right.
But in terms of Penn State itself, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on. I think there is a lot of pressure being exerted that they need to revisit that decision. Yeah. Whether they will or not, I don't know.
Right.
But there's confusion, and Greg, this is. I had the opportunity last Friday to talk to counselors from Chambersburg and Shippensburg as part of a in-service day they were having. And the counselors are confused.
Sure.
Because they're hearing different messaging coming out. And I think that Penn State has an obligation to meet with, in each of the impacted campuses, bring in at least the surrounding school district within, and they can look at their enrollment to know where they're recruiting the most students from, and sit down with those districts and say, this is what's going on.
Right.
So as you're advising, you know what exactly we're doing, and that
hasn't happened.
That has not happened.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
that,
I've heard graduating students say, I was going to go to Mont Alto, but now I can't. I'm like, yeah, you still can.
You
still
can.
It's not closing tomorrow.
But the challenge at Mont Alto, Bill, is going to be their ability to retain staff.
Right.
And
of course.
And faculty.
You know, if it's closing, they start looking.
Yeah, they're going to use that World Campus online stuff, I assume, to help offset or bring in some adjunct. But what you don't want, in my opinion, is where you start a class and the professor midstream says, you know what?
Yeah,
I got another opportunity.
Right.
And so now I think it impacts the quality of education for those students. But no, it's the
at least too many questions in the air.
I mean, and I probably mentioned this before. The disappointment for me is the lack of transparency and communication. The fact that they did not do community economic impact studies prior to making the announcement, and they leaked the announcement ahead of time. And so when I posted on the web, I wrote a letter in support on behalf of FCADC of Mont Alto way ahead of time. But when they were getting close, I said, you confer degrees in communication, community and economic development, and political science.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you should talk to the folks who teach this stuff about how to go about this process.
Yeah, because you messed it up. Yeah.
I mean, they could not handle it any worse. And you're also looking at trying to reconcile to the public. Okay, you have these satellite campuses, according to Jay Paterno, who serves on the their board of trustees. That it costs the university $40 to $50 million a year to subsidize or to operate those campuses, not to subsidize, but to operate them. And his contention was, he said, it's 0.4% of our budget.
Right.
They operate, according to him, on a $10 billion budget.
Yeah.
So they could afford to support it, but at the same time, so you have the 40 to 50 million, and these come from different pots of money, and I get that, but the general public, I don't think does. Now, if you're spending $700 million renovating Beaver Stadium, okay, it's like, wait a minute, football, and we're going to have the huge NIL deals, and the like. So we have big money over here, but academically, which is like why you were set up, okay, is like we can't afford to do it. And I think that I think that there's opportunities here for Shippensburg, for Wilson in particular, because I like to think that as part of, if they're going to pull out of the Mont Alto, of York, of Du Bois, out at Shenango, out in Sharon, Pennsylvania, that in Uniontown, that they're going to have to support. As a Commonwealth, if you're investing that money in education here, that's got to continue to be invested here.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So increase the appropriation to SHIP, increase make money available to Wilson, whatever.
And I'm sure someone thought of this because I couldn't be the only one, but Franklin County doesn't really have a community college, and that it's already built. I mean, it's there.
Right.
Everything's there that you need, particularly the nursing program with the healthcare and the
it's
forestry.
An opportunity for Hack, who right now, and Hack, as you're aware, I mean, they played on the edges here. I mean, they've got a campus in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And again, their focus is in the traditional South Central Pennsylvania. But I think this would be an opportunity
for them to come down.
And I think what you're going to start to see also is some of our four-year institute in the PASHE system in particular start to look at how they can deliver certificated programs or associate's degrees in the trades.
You're right. Yes.
I think
and
nursing's a big one.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there are others as well.
You could, and I don't know this, and I'm just saying this off the top of my head, but that campus at Penn State Mont Alto could just be turning out healthcare.
I mean, you have a health. The Allied Health Building is only 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's state of the art.
State of the art.
That was the last dedication that Eric Barron made as president of Penn State.
Yeah.
But again, I think, and it's a beautiful campus. It really
absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
And it's move-in ready.
Yes, it is.
Right.
It is. And I don't understand. They're making tons of money off the parking lot next to the creamery. I just got a $40 fine for parking there on Friday after the softball game. It's dark out. I'm riding up, can't find any parking spaces. Here's this big parking lot right next to it, and there's two parking lot attendants there. The lights, you can't really see the sign. It doesn't say no parking for creamery. We pull in, we park, and they watch us walk by.
He walks past the attendants on his way out.
They know we're going to the creamery. They couldn't say, hey, and we get in the car. Some ladies there said, I'm from New Jersey. I've always heard about the creamery. I'm coming here, and now you're charging me. You're giving me a ticket. She hadn't looked at the ticket yet. You think it's $5, $10, $40 ticket. So anyway.
Welcome to Penn State.
Yeah, welcome to Penn State.
We are.
We are. Or we're not. So, all right, Mike. We've taken up more time on serious business than we normally do here. What's new? And now I wanted to ask you because there's been a big fight, big thing with the Who and Zach Starkey.
I didn't see that. So what's going on?
Well, they fired him, but then they brought him back. And now, what was it? Ringo said he doesn't like that little guy in the Who. So I don't know.
I got to tell you, Zach Starkey is a great drummer.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah. And he was going to go out with another band, but he said no, I'll stay with the Who. And then of course they fire him and they bring him back. I don't know what's going on either. So I thought you might have had some drug.
No, I don't. But I'm gonna have to check this out now.
Yeah.
Bill, so what's going on?
How do you fire? And I get it. The guy's not doing his job, or he's doing things he shouldn't be doing. You have to move on. But he's a great drummer,
and he's been with them for a few years.
Yeah, he's been with them.
Eddie Jones.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought maybe you had insight.
No, I didn't. I mean,
Roger might have called you.
So is he the little guy he doesn't like?
Like Ringo. Yeah, I don't like that little guy in the Who. That was the latest statement. Ringo, who's all at 5'10" or something, 5'8".
And I've always been a huge Daltrey fan, but apparently, he's now starting to say he can't see or hear.
Oh, really?
So, it'll be like having Helen Keller lead the.
Well, no, he'll be the pinball wizard right there.
He'll be Tommy. Yeah,
he'll be Tommy. All right. So, what's your?
They can take that on the road again.
Yeah, they could. And here he is. So, what's your latest concert?
I saw the and it was a cover band for the James Taylor Carole King.
Oh yeah.
The American Troubadours, I guess they call themselves. Yes. Which because I just like that those three artists in particular, and of the three, I would argue that James Taylor and Carole King are slightly ahead of Carly Simon on all of that.
Yeah,
But she's great too. She did some, the really, soundtracks of your life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I think that I don't know how it gets better than Carole King.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And then isn't that what the Totem Pole is doing?
That beautiful.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that ever?
No.
It's worth seeing. It really is.
We're hoping they come in here on a monthly basis as well, and he talked about bringing the lead down here next time they come to talk to her about it. But that he's I'm sorry, I just lost his name. He's one of the Bee Gees. Gibbs.
No,
Gibbs.
Ryan
Gibbs.
Yes. It was actually this week in 1971 that Tapestry was the #1 album.
Oh, yeah.
For the first of several weeks.
Yeah, for the several weeks.
Huge album.
So that.
No, that's why that's top 5 all time.
Oh, absolutely.
Top 5 of all time.
It is.
And who's next is top 5
Oh,
of
my
all
goodness,
time.
Yeah. With that little guy.
The little guy can scream.
Yeah, the little guy Ringo doesn't like anymore. So you're messing with his son.
Did you watch the thing on Netflix with essentially the founding of Led Zeppelin?
I have not watched that yet.
It's good too.
Is it? Okay. All right. I do want to watch it. Yeah.
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 I always like Keith Moon's contribution to that. It's going to go over. It's going to go over like a Led Zeppelin.
Thank you, Keith.
Well, it's a cool story though. They were all session musicians. It all worked together.
But they did share, like the first time they went live. They're playing at this place in England, and it looked like people came in from shopping Saturday. If there was mothers with, they're like playing Dazed and Confused or whatever.
Yeah. It would have been a shock. You're coming out of an era with what is it? The Hermits. You're listening to Mrs. Brown. You have a lovely daughter. Gee whiz. At least they can say it. And then you walk into here, Dazed and Confused.
What is this?
Say, hey, mama.
Originally performed as the New Yardbirds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what they were. They were essentially the extension of Jimmy Page. And I mean, he talks about like Jeff Beck recruited him to the Yardbirds.
Right.
And he said they went to America and whatever. Jeff Beck got upset and just quit. He said, all of a sudden I was the lead guitarist.
Right.
But it's always interesting when you hear about, because they had Clapton and Page and Jeff Beck. But a lot of those great guitarists think that Jeff Beck was the most influential of all of them.
Yeah.
Right. And
they say
in terms
that,
of playing, absolutely.
And I mean, he's probably the least known publicly of
yes, I would agree with you on that. Yes, most people wouldn't know Jeff Beck. Pick that name out of great guitarists just because they haven't heard the name that much. But
and if they know anything about him, it's like spotty, a song here or there.
Yeah,
jumps a couple of decades.
And not everybody would know that he played with the Yardbirds.
Right.
That type of thing.
But
Clapton did, but yeah.
But they have this. I mean, have Slide. He was. I mean, I think that he lost his place in life probably like 1973 or something.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he really struggled, I guess. But they did some great things at one point. And Brian Wilson's passed. That guy,
oh, my goodness.
That guy was a genius.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of geniuses seem to be trouble. Like Van Gogh cut his ear off.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this guy lived in his bedroom for like 7 or 8 years or whatever.
Right.
But he suffered from acute depression or whatever it would be.
Well, he had a nervous breakdown on a plane while they were going on tour. And then, even though he continued to write and record and produce, he stopped touring with them.
He's just absolute genius. So.
Yeah. But I think you're right. There is something. That's why I don't try to be a genius.
Gave up on it early.
I gave up.
I like my ears.
But Wilson also,
I don't want to live in a bedroom.
Wilson had a lot of demons, including a really rough upbringing, which impacted all the brothers.
And what's interesting, I guess they grew up in Hawthorne, California.
Right.
But because they said they didn't grow up on the coast.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis was the only one who actually served.
And they're a surfing band.
Right.
I like how that works. Yeah.
But
you're right. Slide and the Family Stone.
Yeah.
They had they were they were the different sound at Woodstock. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, they weren't the rock, the hard rock band that was there. They were the soul band at the time, and just incredible song. They did a lot of great stuff, and yeah, I think
And
you're right.
they did a nice job of blending, a lot of different instruments that weren't.
Yeah.
But what's the best horn band?
Well,
Greg's going to say.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say Chicago.
Right.
But, I think also you have, along with Chicago, you have Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Right.
And some would argue, if you're looking at, they're not in the same genre, but like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right.
That type of setting. With,
Or again, in the 80s and 90s, there was a British band called Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, which was pretty heavy on horns.
yeah. Now, Dave, here's Chris Palladina. If Dave Kipp wasn't coming in at 9 o'clock, I quit my job right now and jump into the fray down there. He loves the conversation that we're having with that. So, yeah, it is hard. You have different genres of horn bands, and there's.
What's great? Did you see Earth, Wind, and Fire tour with Chicago?
No,
I saw that twice, and both of them. And then when they come out and play together, it's like
they come out and play together.
Yeah, they do. They do 25 or 6 to 4 together.
Wow,
and it's all man.
Yeah,
Greg, holy cow, man!
Wow, no, would that be great?
I know.
I just pay for the encore.
Palpable, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
I just pay to go see that. That would be great. Yeah, because excellent horn sections in that one. Well, and I speak of horn bands. Some of Leonard Skinner's stuff has horns in it.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have it's different genres of horns, and I don't know how you pick the best one on that one. You're absolutely right, but Chicago's one of my favorites.
So here's a guy. Did you ever listen? Here's a guy who I don't understand how he wasn't a big star. Did you ever listen to Michael Stanley?
No.
Yes.
Michael Stanley was.
He made
a singer-songwriter, and he was apparently wildly popular in Ohio and like in the Midwest.
Yeah.
And if you go back and look, he did some great songs.
Yeah.
But somehow never got. I mean. You listen to a Bruce Springsteen today. This guy, in fact, he had the big man,
Clarence Clemens.
Played with Michael Stanley before he did with.
Oh,
with
really?
Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, I never heard of Michael Stanley. I have to look that up.
The guy was great, but you wonder how some resonate and go off and become famous. Now, there's a guy that was writing and performing and.
We've all heard those singers someplace, somewhere, that just really like you get the goosebumps and you're thinking, why are they playing the Greencastle Carnival? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Why haven't they made it somewhere somehow? I guess a lot of it is timing.
I think anybody who is in the performing arts, and that's, I mean, first of all, I don't know, you got to have skin as thick as a rhinoceros, because you're going to get told no a lot
of times,
and be able to come back after having your ego just
destroyed. Yeah.
So, but I mean, but I do think for any of them, it's just you have to be at the right place at the right time, where somebody who can advance your career has just heard you. Or watch you perform. Or whatever it is that you do.
You just have to be at the right place. Yeah, because, and listen, the guy did a great job. He married well. But you listen to Sonny Bono sing, and you listen to other people sing, and you're thinking, wait a minute.
So, I mean, Sonny Bono would have gotten, if he would gone for choir practice. No. You could be out in the pews.
He wouldn't have made it on the Gong Show.
No, he would not have.
Got gonged off there, and the chairs would have never turned around on The Voice.
He started off actually working in the office for Phil Spector.
Yeah. And then, like I said, married well.
Yes, he did.
And so, I mean, she could sing, and she still can sing, as a matter of fact.
I was never. I mean, I think Cher did some interesting songs, but I was never. I didn't think she. Like, if you were going to compare Cher to
Carole King
or Stevie
there's no
Nicks or
comparison.
somebody, there is none. Or Linda Ronstadt.
It's not as deep a catalog.
No.
It's a lengthy one, but it's hit and miss with me.
Yeah.
It's a song or two here and there that
Well, I think when she came back, I Believe, or the whatever, the one on the Navy.
If I could turn back time.
Turn back time.
That was a huge hit.
Yeah, it was.
And a lot.
And that's the one or two that I can think of.
And she did it at a time when no one thought she was still relevant.
Right. And I mean, and she, I mean, a lot of her appeal was the sexuality of
Right.
what's there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
as much as the song.
Sure.
I'd much rather watch her act.
That's why people listen here for the
But
the sexuality.
Of
course. Yes.
But you know what's crazy about
it's just under the surface, Greg.
Yeah.
You mentioned Leonard Skinner. I probably talked about this before, but I watched the documentary on Leonard Skinner, and those guys were talking about how hard they worked to get good. He said, and then because he said everybody thought we were like the Allman Brothers. He said the Allman Brothers like virtuosos. These guys could flat out. Like,
yeah.
And if you listen to the Allman Brothers, their songwriting, their instrumentals are
incredible. Yeah.
And I don't know how they did it because they were all strung out on heroin.
I know.
It's like, what? It's almost like they're almost
or married to Cher, or both.
But they're almost an advertisement.
Yes, Greg
They're
Allman.
an advertisement for heroin.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yes. Yeah, Greg Allman was married to Cher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. In fact, I just heard something about their child. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, he's got substance.
Yeah. There he is. Dave Kipp has entered the studio. I forgot to warm up your chair, the stair chair.
I'm going to try that one.
You want to try this one? So okay, this one doesn't go up and down. Well, it does go up and down, but not as fun. So anyway, they as we near the end of time here.
I understand that at the softball game last week it was the seventh inning.
It was the seventh inning.
But
it was close.
But
but
the kudos to the team.
Yeah,
I mean, really,
it was a great.
Oh my goodness, yes.
If you weren't rooting for one team or the other, you would sit there and go, "This is a great high school softball game that every state championship should have," because it was so even. Each going into the seventh inning was like each team only had 2 hits. Each team only left 3 or 4 on base. There were no errors, no pass balls, no wild pitches. Pitchers were on. The infield was magnificent. The outfield was equally. It's like these two teams need to be in this championship game.
Right.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they strung 3 doubles together, hard hit balls that found the gap, and they come out the victor on that one. And that's just the way it is. But it was a lot of fun. Except for the long wait. The game before went 13 innings.
Ticket.
Yeah, win a $40 ice cream ticket. So the ice cream cost me $52 for $6 for each, and then we got the $40 ticket.
And those of us listening at home got to hear Wade say every 5 minutes, "I'm sure Dr. Hoover knows what he's doing."
and creamery won't mix flavors.
No, they won't. They won't. They do have it down like Chick-fil-A, though. You go in.
Yeah. So if you go in there. Now this is a point of pride. You'll see a picture of my uncle. And
seriously,
yep. He worked at the creamery for like 40 years.
Really?
Wow.
Really? Yeah. And he got a ticket every time he went. He never made any money.
Just as a nostalgia, one of the great days of my life was I got this. My uncle who was he was the fire chief at the Alpha Fire Company forever up there as well, but. He was a tireless promoter of State College. He just loved. And we spent a day, we ate breakfast at the Waffle House or Waffle Shop, and then went out and he said, "I'm going to take you around and show you everything that's happened." And it was absolutely remarkable because he and my father's family grew up in State College. And and at the time, they grew up. They were on the outskirts. They're now would be almost in the middle.
In the middle of it, yeah.
But yeah,
it is an interesting. So, and I get confused. Is it State College? Is it University Park? Penn State University and Happy Valley, all in the same place.
It's all of it.
They probably all have their own zip code.
Yeah, they do. I mean, University Park has its own zip code.
Yeah.
As compared to State
College.
Oh,
do they really?
Yeah. They
do. I did not know that.
It used to be very easy. When I went to school up there, you just went up 322 and you entered State College. Now you got the bypass. You got all kinds of new roads up there, and I have no idea where I am.
Did you ever know Bob Rumler?
No.
Bob Rumler, who grew up in Fort McCord, and he was very big in the ag business, and the whole thing. It was a negotiator on the first GATT agreement. Grew up here, went to Vermont, and then came back like 30 years later. He got every award that Penn State gives
Okay,
out
yeah.
every
Wow.
distinguished award.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking. I said, "You're going to State College in the 1930s. How'd you get there? And how long did it take you? Literally, how long did it take you to get there?
Horse
I
and
think
wagon.
they probably had 150 students in or something.
And I mean,
Yeah.
because you're winding your way up over the mountains in cars
Yeah,
on
yeah.
roads that were
Just dirt
being
roads.
built.
Yeah.
Boy,
My
today, if you're
goodness.
going to a game, you got to start the day before.
Yeah, that's
The traffic is unreal.
That's why people spend the night. It's not
Right.
because they're
Oh.
partying. They just got there at 2 in the morning. Well, even now there is no easy
No,
way.
there's not.
That was the end of the joke of the day. You know, I was up there from whatever 2 o'clock on, and then the game didn't start till 6 or whatever the case may be. And then we got the ice cream and the ticket. And I said, then we had that nice relaxing drive home. Dear.
No, I won't go to Penn State night games at all.
Yeah.
because I don't want that. And everybody's talking about how long it took them to get out of the parking lot and get home, and that becomes the conversation, not the game. That's
Not the game, yeah. Who?
Well,
I don't know. I'm still trying to get out of the parking lot.
A number of years ago, I have a cousin that he's been a member. I think he's on one of the regional Nittany Lion Club boards.
Okay.
Because he's got parking on the blacktop right outside the stadium.
Oh, he must know somebody.
And so I
Yeah.
used to buy a ticket once in a while from him. Anyway, one of his friends didn't want his season tickets one year, a few years ago, and I bought his season tickets. And I parked somewhere out in the lower 40.
No, yeah, no.
And there's no signs, there's no lights, and it was a night game, and I never thought of this, but I kept punching my fob
To find your car.
to find my car, and you
And
know,
everybody else was too.
yeah. So I heard all these horns blowing.
Beep, 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 beep.
So we were out there, and we sat in a van for an hour and 20 minutes before anybody got out of that field.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we had food.
That's good. And hopefully you don't get a day like today.
Oh,
where
yeah,
it's
you're
like,
stuck
you're
in
sitting
the...
out there and it's like
Well, it was
muddy
it was the highest state, so that didn't help.
No, no.
Oh my day!
But
yeah.
An hour and 20 minutes may have been
Oh, my.
at the lightning speed.
And to be honest with you, I don't know what else you can do. I mean, you know,
Right. No,
all those people, when you bring 110,000 people in there,
Right.
Yeah, and just say half or even a quarter drive cars, you know, it's a mess.
No,
It's a
no,
mess.
and well, what's interesting when you're going to the game, everybody's arriving at different times,
Right.
typically.
Right.
But
Yes,
everybody's
good
leaving
point.
at the same time.
Right.
We should
So-
stagger that out.
So, did
you
you-
in section 120, you cannot leave.
Did you see the new stadium or whatever?
I
it's
did.
done with
You
it?
know, where we sat, where John Freeman and I sat in the press box at this beautiful softball complex, you could see the. You could see the stadium. It looked like an amusement park because they had the cranes up and they were building it. You could see the roof of the Jordan Center.
Right. I remember you saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, of course, the intramural building was over to the right. The soccer field, you could see that as well. It was a great location. My favorite thing of the whole, not my favorite thing, one of the funniest things was they said the boys' games in a rain delay.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
And the stadium's right over there. we're not in a rain delay. How did that happen? I don't know. I mean, you could walk over to the boys' stadium. It would take you. It's probably a mile away. I mean, even though it's right there,
Right.
but you know, it's just a long distance to get there. But yeah, I found that one. Of course, the other I told the story. My other favorite story was I come off the main road. And to park up there, and I pull in. The guy says, "Spectator parking down that way." I said, "Well, I'm media." He said, "Oh, you can't come in this way." So he told me how to get there. So I drove the whole way around. The same guy met me. I said, "Media." He goes, "Right in there." It was right there. It was right there.
By the way, real quick, so when you saw the construction going on, what I'm certain that you would have seen would have been Grove cranes.
Yeah.
You'd have seen JLG lifts.
Yeah.
And you probably would have seen Volvo excavators. It all comes back to Franklin
It
County.
all comes back.
Yes,
Well,
it
you
is.
know,
Wow, that's cool.
And to end this conversation, because I know Mike has I guess he has important things to do today. I don't know. But when I went
He
out,
sure doesn't act like
Not so far.
I went to Tucson to see my son and daughter-in-law and family, and they're now back in Pennsylvania, which I'm happy about. But we went to the Tucson rodeo, and there was I don't know if it was construction or if it was for cameras or whatever. There was a Grove crane, and I took a picture of that, So wherever you go, it's right there.
They're everywhere.
Went to Nashville. Went to what's the big place that has the entertainment? The
Ryman?
Grand Ole Opry. There inside was a JL lift. Inside, they were using it for construction.
There are 3 of them down at M&T Park Stadium in Baltimore.
Yeah.
They specifically wanted them painted Ravens purple.
Yeah. So
cool.
You're right, Mike. Everything comes back to
It
Frank.
all comes back.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Mike, always a pleasure.
Always.
A pleasure. Don't forget, you can hear Mike's podcast on various outlets of podcasts. It's called Mike on the Mic. No mention of Bosco anywhere.
By the way, easiest thing to do is just go right to the FCADC website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, poor Bosco. Well, we lament about that. Dave Kipp is coming up next. Good to have him back in the saddle, as we like to say here in the cowboy language. I don't know. It's the morning show. Cowboy language. We're news coming up. NBC News. We'll switch things around here. Dave's coming up with the best music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
It'll be a hootin' and hollering.
Yeah, it will be. Mike, we'll see you in a month, if not before.
No, are you going to play any song from that little guy?
The little guy from The Who. I don't like that little guy from The Who.
I just saw recently that Burton Cummings and
Randy Bachman.
They're coming together again as the Guess Who on a cruise.
Oh, are they?
Oh, wow.
Is it on a cruise?
There's a lawsuit going on.
Yeah.
That's big. That's big news.
23 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
There's half my show right there.
Well, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know what this is.
That's one of the reasons they didn't get along. He didn't want any part of that wild rock.
All right, wait a minute. I really messed up here because I started talking and then we'll get to it. Here we go. News and weather together.
WRGG. With news and weather together. Coming up next.
From high above the broadcast house in